Hey guys, welcome to another video on my channel. In today's video, we are going to be taking a look at some gameplay of an older robot in the game, which we don't really see much of in higher level play, or at least in Champion League, and that is the Natasha. So I do have a Natasha equipped with Dragoons and Arbalest, a build which a couple of you have requested, during my live stream, so I threw that in. But I was actually trying to get footage of the Spectre with Punishes for another video, which I did release kind of recently. So if you happen to miss that, make sure to check that out. I'll put a link to that in the video description as well. Yeah, as far as that particular build, the Spectre build, I didn't really do too well with that in this game. But I did do well with the Natasha, so I saved the footage so that when I do get around to doing the Natasha build, I would have something to show you guys. And this game was actually a very good example of that build, so I figured, let's use that footage now so I can show you what it is capable of. I dropped in on Canyon map. I started with the Stride. I didn't really know what to do with this bot because it's more for beacon running, and well, there's no beacons in Team Deathmatch. So I just tried to see if I could keep my distance, try to maybe dish out some damage, pick off a player, if I could. But unfortunately I was flanked. I thought there was actually someone on the left side of me here, but I didn't have the cover. Well, I had a Jesse with Noricans, which didn't really help. But I played my Strider aggressively because I just wanted to get out of that bot. When I saw the Inquisitor jump, I decided to hop into my Spectre with Punishes because I knew he had used his jump and his stealth, and at that point I could capitalize on it. So I used my Spectre and I took out the Inquisitor and the Hetchy, only to get smoked by another Spectre with Orkans. Now, being that he took me out, I knew that he probably had used his jump and he was on cooldown, so he had no stealth, and that's why I jumped into my Balkazari because it has more HP, and obviously that firepower with the Tyrants could dish out a lot of damage. So I managed to take out that Spectre, and from this point it's more about really keeping my distance, but also seeing if I could do additional damage with this build. I got a little bit too close to this Inquisitor here. I couldn't calculate his range because he was in stealth, and that was a bit of a mistake on my part. I couldn't dash away because I only just got my dash at that point after being hit pretty bad. So what I did was I moved to the right side of this hill in order to play the strength of the Balkazari, which is basically its ability to corner shoot. All the three Tyrants are on the right side of the bot. I can use the hill as a shield, and that's pretty much what I did. Again, I got too close to this Inquisitor, but at this point, I only had 5,000 health. I got taken out. He did jump, so I knew that he was on cooldown, and this is when I brought up my Natasha with the Dragoons and the Arbalest. So here you can see me focusing him down, doing quite a bit of damage actually, but a lot of that damage actually came from the Dragoons itself. I've been testing out the Arbalest. I don't really like that weapon. Doesn't really do that much damage for me. But I just wanted to show you guys this build because I've said in the past, a lot of the newer weapons have started to bring life back to some of the older robots. The Natasha being one of them. It's actually a great example for the Natasha too. Here you can see me trying to focus down players at that 600 meter, or I guess in this case 540 meter mark. Again, I see another Inquisitor. I focused him down. You can see me doing quite a bit of damage with these Dragoons. So just keeping my distance. This is Team Deathmatch. There is a lot of camping involved, players hanging back. So that's pretty much what I had to do. this is one of those builds which is designed more for medium to long range. So I'm trying to focus down, the, I guess, soft targets. Targets that don't really have shields. If I can hit something like a Spectre, even better. But trying to keep them at bay. What I actually didn't really notice in this game until the very end either was that we were actually a player down too. So this game ended up being rather close, and the Natasha build did exceptionally well for me. You can see here I'm trying to keep my distance. Using actually this hill, I sometimes use this hill as a shield to protect me and just keep my distance from the enemy. Trying to focus him down. I did see some Tempest being fired, so I made sure to use the hill as a shield. And yeah, this is pretty much what I was doing for the most part when I was running this particular build. So I guess I could talk about some of the advantages to this weapon combo. The Dragoon weapon itself is very deadly. Talking about 600 meters, it can do a lot of damage, and if you've kind of seen my Fury Dragoon video, you'll be very familiar with this weapon. The Arbalest, though, I found doesn't really do that much damage. I guess the benefit that I had on this map was that if there was a player that was, say, 700 meters to the 1100 meter mark, I could hit them with Arbalest just to kind of give them a bit of a surprise. You know, they get hit by something, they don't know really what it is, and they stay back. But that's pretty much all I really had use for as far as the Arbalest. But the Dragoons was what really did the damage. So I'm just trying to keep to cover here. You can see how close this game is actually. 18 to 19. We are down, I think we are down 1 or 2 players. We were down a player from the very start. So it looks like we are down a player. They're down to 5 players, it looks like. And very, very close game. I mean, this pretty much was what it was up until, I guess, the end of this game. But you can see how I'm just playing my range. I don't want to get too close because obviously, you know, I'm going to get smoked by something like a Hechi, or if they have an Inquisitor or a Spectre, which has stealth, I'm at a huge disadvantage. There is that player there on the right side. He isn't a Hechi, so I know that my weapons can go, you know, all through his shield. So he's keeping his distance. You can see that. I'm keeping an eye on him too. And there's a couple of others there. What I usually do is, you know, when I'm playing, you know, this build or any other build really, when I take a look or I check the different ranges of players, I look to see if they have an energy shield or not. If they do, then I know that they're probably in a Hechi or an Ancelot. So you can see the guy on the right side here. He tried to make a move and I hit him. And after getting hit by Dragoons, he decided to head back to cover. So they are keeping their distance, and so am I. And I'm actually very careful of this hill. I don't know if you can see the targeting kind of a little bit to the right of where I'm focused on now. There is, I think, 2 players behind that hill. I'm very careful of that because that hill provides cover to them, and if they are in an Inquisitor or like a Hechi, they can get to me very quickly. This player here is kind of making his way. He's using cover to get closer and closer to me. I did hit that Spectre, as you saw, jumping, so I decided to drop down, get cover from this Hechi, and then you'll see me move to the side, and I'm going to focus down the Spectre because he was a bit of a problem, or at least to me and my teammates. Now moving up to this hill once again, as I said, I've used this hill many times just to kind of protect the front part of my Natasha, having my Dragoons peek just above it so that I can do that damage while staying behind cover. And this is when I saw that Ancelot coming towards me. I knew that at this point this is going to be a tough situation to be in here because now I'm getting attacked by 2 guys. You know, who do you focus on? So I'm trying to keep that Hechi back, but at the same time I'm going to be focusing on that Lancelot too. But what you're going to notice me do here, because the Hechi is a bit of a bigger threat, I would say, I'm keeping an eye on him, and he's going to be the first person that I target because I know that my Dragoons can go all the way through his shield, and that way I eliminate 1 player. So he's going to make an attack here, and now you're going to see me switch over. Make sure that I take him out first, and at this point this is when I start to focus down that Lancelot. But obviously I lost my Arbalest, which is a good thing because, you know, the Arbalest doesn't really do that much damage, and then my my teammate managed to help me out here. And at this point, you know, we are actually winning. But what I did here was I killed my bot and I spawned in because I saw this Inquisitor was close to that spawn point, and that way I managed to get another kill on that Inquisitor. I was almost dead in my Natasha, and you know, I figured it was a good trade-off at that point because if I had stayed in the Natasha, he would have killed me and I would have been in trouble because you know, these other 2 guys on the right side of that spawn point would have had been, I guess, closer to that spawn, and I would have had to face maybe a 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 situation. So that's why I killed my Natasha in the hopes of me surprising that Inquisitor. Unfortunately, I couldn't take out this Balkazari Orkans. I went down to it, but I did do a decent amount of damage with that Death Button Rhino. And this is pretty much how the game ended up being. And that was the last bot for our team. But you can see here, a very close game, 25-26. And on top of that, you know, we also were down a player. So you can see that right at the end. But anyways guys, I wanted to show you this build because like I said, a couple of you had been requesting it. Not a bad build. Would I run Arbalest on it? Most likely not. I think Magnums is better. But anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't yet subscribed, consider subscribing. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.